Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Copy Corner with your host, Terry Schilling.
And Dan Marzullo.
This is our little corner of the internet where we like to share copywriting, content writing, and marketing tips to help you write better copy, to get better conversions, and grow your business. And today we're going to be talking about how to successfully manage freelance writers. Because last week on the Copy Corner, we talked about how to hire subcontractors as a freelancer, right? And now we want to flip the conversation a little bit of how to manage them and show appreciation to freelancers, right? Because as freelancers, we don't get to be a part of this big team. We rely on having more clients to pay our bills, right? So we want to provide a great experience and have good relationships with clients. But sometimes the clients don't return the favor, right, Dan?
Right.
It's tough. And so I think we were talking, this just isn't a topic that gets talked about a lot, of just what clients can do, to successfully manage the partnership with the freelance writer and to show, appreciation. So let's get right into it, Dan. What's some advice that you have for the clients out there?
Yeah. So for showing appreciation, I think this is huge, right? Like obviously they're contractors. You don't have to do this, but if you've got great contractors on your team and you want to keep them around and have a great working relationship, there's some, little things you can do to make them stick around, right? And have a great working relationship. So the one thing that I love to do, and it's just super simple, right? It's not that big of a deal, but it goes a long way, is make them feel like part of the team, right? As freelancers, we're not, we're the solo lonely guys, right? We don't have that team culture all the time. So if you can do little things that make them feel included, it's super refreshing. And so one thing that you can do that I love to do for all our contractors is, if say holidays are coming up, or there's typically special things that you do for your internal W-2 team members, right? Include the freelancers in that. So maybe that's throwing a tiny little holiday bonus their way, or, a $20 Starbucks gift card, at Thanksgiving or, holiday or whatever. So just little things like that, if you can think of them and just show your appreciation, with you can literally send electronic gift cards for Starbucks through email and write a little note, like, hey, Dan, thanks so much for all your hard work this year. Really appreciate you having you as part of the team, right? Here's something, go get a coffee or whatever. It's little, but it goes a long way. It shows you're thinking of them, and it really makes them feel involved in those kind of things when, holidays come up. I think that's just a real easy way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Those little gestures, even if it's like an extra tip at the end of a project.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've had that happen a couple of times. Like, talk about the definition of feeling appreciated as a freelancer, because that is just going out of your way. And I like how you phrase it, of just like, if you have an internal team, if this is stuff that you do for them and you hire an independent contractor, show that appreciation by going that little extra, by sharing some help, some of those thoughtful gifts. Because again, exactly. Freelancers appreciate that a lot. And like you said, we don't get to be a part of this team. And just like feeling that type of like camaraderie of that, right? It's a morale booster for the freelancer. And I think just like with a happy freelancer, you're going to just get more quality work at the end of the day. Right.
Make them happy, they'll deliver. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. I got a few things to touch on. So one, cool. when managing, client relationships with freelancers, is just responding in a timely manner. Because like what I like to do with clients is break down like phases and give them timelines, how many days, turnaround time, so they can have a good idea of when they can expect it. And if something kind of gets thrown off, I'll be transparent there too. But a lot of times clients just say yes, they get the work, and then I understand that they have a business to run and have other tasks, but then they won't email back or like give any feedback for a while. And then sometimes you're left just like, okay, now I'm getting some more work. Now I'm afraid if they come back to me with some feedback, then they want a quick turnaround. It's not really fair to my time if I send you something when I said I would, and then you take a week and a half, 2 weeks to get back to me, and now I'm expected to turn it around. That just shows like a lack of respect for the time, and we've already set this straight. So I think just communicating in a timely manner, even if it's just an email saying, hey, I got this, I'm going to review it, I'll update you with some time, it may be a couple weeks. Just be like upfront about that, because as freelancers, that project isn't the only one that we have on our to-do list. We have other things
Right.
as well, right? So I think just being respectful of the time there is a big one.
Yeah, that's huge, Terry. Absolutely.
Yeah. And another one, if we're talking towards the end of the relationship in the project completion, is sending testimonials. Maybe offering to write one, share some love on social media, like on LinkedIn, do like an Instagram story, Twitter too. Depends where you're hanging out. But I think even LinkedIn, especially, just leaving a testimonial that, I worked with Terry, I worked with XYZ freelance writer, and he helped me, do this. I think showing that appreciation to the freelancer's work by willingly wanting to send a testimonial is a big one.
Yeah, I like that, Terry, because you're willing to help them grow their business. I mean, that's stuff like that is what they, rely on to grow. If you can give them a nice piece of feedback, they can feature on their website, their portfolio, LinkedIn, that's going to be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have one more, Dan. I think we both can touch on this.
Sure.
It is one of the best ways to manage a successful relationship with a freelance writer and for future work and to show appreciation, pay invoices on time. Have to admit, right? Have to admit that's a big one. If they send it to you, and if they've already maybe established some net, payment terms, but when that date comes up, paying that invoice on time, it's such a relief for freelance writers, especially starting out too. Just like seeing that money get in your bank is very rewarding as a freelance writer. Just pay the invoices on time. I got anything to add there, Dan?
Yeah, no, that's huge. I think that's one of the easiest things you can do to keep them happy and keep a strong working relationship. I mean, freelancers have bills to pay too. And if you agree on a certain payment term schedule, stick with that. I mean, even if you're like, oh, it's only going to be a few days late, it's just disrespectful, right? Don't agree to the terms if you know that you're not going to be able to deliver, right? You should have that conversation up front before the project or the relationship begins. As simple as that, just pay them on time. You got to do it.
Exactly. And I feel like I've said this before to other freelance writers, just as a client, like if you're paying a little more for a freelance writer, like you definitely get what you pay for. But I just find that clients who are willing to pay the higher rates and agree to terms, pay invoices on time, they enjoy the work more. Like they understand, like they respect your business and your skill set and your time. And so then it'll be a collaboration effort. So when you deliver the work, they're going to feel, that this was worth it with their time and that, you're putting in this quality work. I mean, How many times, Dan, have we talked to clients where, they come to us because they hired a cheap freelancer before and they didn't get what they were looking for. You get what you paid for.
And then they pay again because they got to redo it until it's, hits the mark. So you spend more money in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I understand that I'm not going to deliver something, perfect on the first try, but I lay it out for my clients that this is going to be a collaboration as well. Like I'm going to, communicate with you, do edits and make sure that we're getting what you're looking for. And you have that process set in place. So when a client agrees, to all of that, that just shows appreciation on that end too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, everyone, that's the topic that we have today. We want to talk with you about how to successfully manage freelance writers and more importantly, show appreciation to them. We were here today live on the LinkedIn and YouTube channel. So if you're watching, hello. You can also listen on the podcast. We're everywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Go ahead and leave a review, rating, show us some love. We do like reading those on the show as well. But we appreciate everyone's support and feedback. And Dan, anything else before we go?
Hopefully that was helpful, guys. Hopefully you can implement some of these tips and look forward to speaking with everybody next week.
Yeah. And if you're a freelancer too, share some things that maybe ideas that you have for clients to show appreciation. Would love to see that conversation flow. On social media. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening and watching today's episode of The Copy Corner. As always, proceed with passion, love what you do. We will see you next time.